nadie más. Vida nunca vayas a dejarme. Cuando nos conocimos era pura fantasía y ahora que te tengo eres toda la vida mía. Eres tú la que me hace reír, eres tú por quien he de vivir. Ya no cabe tanta felicidad. En mi alma eres tú y nadie más. Tú y nadie más.
Wacky Wednesday.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Unfiltered, the real deal. No pre-planning, no chingaderas. Straight up from the bill.
Wacky Wednesday.
B-Town's very own.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Here's your host, Bumper Gomez.
Welcome to another episode of Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, live from the 210 here in San Antonio, Texas. For all you guys wondering, no, we're not in the Windy City right now.
Where are we at?
We're in San Antonio, Tony. There you go. There you go.
Ya se me está... We just barely started, ya se me está yendo la onda, bro. Ya se me está yendo la onda.
No, man, I'd like to welcome everybody tuning in right now on YouTube, everybody tuning in on Facebook. It's an exciting start of a long weekend for Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, and no better way to start it than one of our very own Tejano legends, Mr. Tony Guerrero de la Sombra.
Ahua!
There you go. Man, super excited. Man, Tony, I've been excited as heck for 2 weeks already. When I look at my calendar, I was like, hey, I got Tony coming up. I know it's after the 4th of July. Sometimes it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? Like you're working you party all day Wednesday, and then you got to come do an interview on Tuesday and then come do an interview on Wednesday.
I'm in trouble hearing you because of the damn fireworks yesterday. You know, they were popping in real close to my ears, and then sometime around 3 o'clock this morning, I thought somebody was shooting. I didn't think there were fireworks, man, but I heard something really, really loud, but it sounded like it was in my damn room.
Oh, man. So, again, if you're just joining us right now, I'm with the legend, Mr. Tony Guerrero from Grupo La Sombra, all the way from Chicago via the 210 San Antonio, Texas. And also, if you guys don't know him, El Angelito in the back over there. You want to introduce yourself?
¿Qué tal, mi Rosita? ¿Cómo están? Aquí estamos en esta bonita entrevista. Gracias a Dios que me deja estar aquí en tu hermoso programa, bonito programa. Thankfully, we're here and not our house. Thankfully, our house did not explode by the fireworks yesterday. Yeah.
Did you pop fireworks yesterday, Christopher?
Sadly, I didn't. Sadly, I didn't know.
No?
Nope.
No? Well, we did. My wife got messages. You bought the fireworks for you, or you bought them for the kids? Kind of both, man. Kind of both. Pero no, saludos a todos, everybody. Again, watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook. Thank you guys so much. You're in for a great show tonight. I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure you guys do too. I'm going to try my hardest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try my hardest this evening to look at the chat a little bit more. If you have a question for Tony that I could relay for you, I will try to do that. I can't promise you that I get all the questions, but I will look at the chat a little bit more tonight. So I've been listening to him forever and day when I was like a teenager back in the day. I'm 39 years old from Lansing, Michigan. What's up, Tony? Andres Diaz watching on YouTube, man.
Well, first of all, primero I got to do what I should have done from the very beginning. Saluditos de parte de Tony Guerrero, La Sombra de Chicago, con un fuerte abrazo y un besote. Y also, pues aquí con my boy Bumper, aquí en el Bumper de Wacky Wednesday, un saludito con un fuerte abrazo de parte de Tony La Sombra. And pues aquí estamos, Bumper, gracias a Dios.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw Tony walking up. He's coming to the house, and again, it's just you guys really don't understand what it's like to be in my shoes, to have these dudes that you just grew up. I was just telling Tony right before we went live to have these dudes here in your home, somebody that you just played the CD over and over and over and over again, all of them. You know what I mean? I mean, Tony, you got to think about it. This is the honest truth. You're at least 2 songs that I know will play at every quinceañera from for the last 30 plus years have played it every. Sapo, Sancho, all those songs, they're forever. They're golden, man. They're forever.
Yeah, those are big gold and platinum classics de La Sombra from back in the day. Sometimes we have to play it twice. Sometimes we have to play it 3 times at a show. If we're playing by ourselves all night, man, we end up playing it 3 times. Because everybody wants to hear it in the first set. And
right.
Then if somebody shows up, comes in later, and they want to hear it too, and say, "Man, we just played it. We'll play it again." I said, "Okay, man." And regardless if we play 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, man, the floor gets packed.
Quick.
Yeah, but quick. It's a very fun song, a very fun dancing song. And people just love it. Me, I freak out. I think about it sometimes, and I freak out. I mean, this is a damn song about a frog. And people love it.
Tony, so did you brought it up? It's about a frog, all right? Sapo.
A dancing frog.
A dancing frog. Where in the hell did Tony Guerrero get that song? And where in your right mind did you think that was going to be a song like it is today?
Well, back in the day, we were helping out groups. We took a few groups on tour with us, helping them out. And one of those groups that we were helping out was a group named Oasis. And they were from Chicago also. And they came down for about 6 months and toured with La Sombra. And actually, they had just recorded El Sapo. And that's where I first heard it at, And then, so they toured with us for around 6 months. And they must have gotten tired or something. They ended up wanting to go back to Chicago. Either that or they couldn't take the heat. They couldn't take the heat or something. But they ended up going back to Chicago, so there was no more Sapo. So I was always enjoying them playing it.
Yeah.
When they were on tour with us, and so there was no more Sapos. And then all of a sudden, I got the crazy idea. Hey, I'm just gonna record it. Just to see how it comes out. And we ended up recording it. I mean, it wasn't even picked up for a single. It just blew up by itself. It was, I guess, it was the right song.
Dude, it was. You know what it is, Tony? I think the thing is that it was so catchy, dude. It's like the hook, come on here, sap, sapo, sap. It's one of those songs, Christopher, how's that song go? The shark one. Baby shark. Yeah, you could have no idea. You hear that and you're like, that thing will stay in your head all day long. You know what I mean? So Sap Sapo to me just, it again, it's a song that's gonna live forever. I think so many people that are in the chat room, they all grew up with that song. They can all say they grew up with that song. Tony, the first thing I was talking to my wife earlier over lunch, and I was like, man, I got so many questions for Tony, right? I've always, since I can remember, it's always been La Sombra, the Tony Guerrero, and then you guys were the Windy City Boys. So I'm in my mind, you guys were born and raised in Chicago. So everybody associated you guys to Chicago. How did that come about? Did you guys start the group in Chicago and then eventually made your way down to Texas because this is where the Onda was, or how did all that come to take?
Well, I was born here in Texas. I was born in Brownsville, Texas. The older guys in the band was me and my older brother Cruz are from Brownsville. Harvey and Pepper are from McAllen. And the younger kids, Gavino, and all of them, they were born up there in Chicago, the Aurora, Illinois area. And we ended up going up north as migrant workers with our parents. Every summer we would go up north and, le dábamos a las pizcas,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Pino, tomate, lechuga, you name it, we picked it, And, man, I was a little kid back then, I was in the summertime, then nomás acababa la escuela, and órale, mijo, chingale, so le dábamos a la labor, and every summer we would come out here, and in the wintertime we would every summer we would go up north to Illinois, and then in the wintertime we would come back to Texas.
I would too.
You too?
It's cold as hell over there, man.
Yeah, it gets pretty cold. Well, if you live up there I lived up there for a long time, so I was used to it, At the time I was seeing this girl, I would walk her like 2 miles from school. She lived the opposite way that I lived, so I would walk her like 2 or 3 miles to her house in the winter, and then I walk back home those 2 or 3 miles again, and I still had to walk another 2 miles to my house, So, but I was
love will make you do some crazy things, Tony.
I don't know if I was in love. I don't know if I was in love or todo pendejo, one of the two, walking that much time in the cold weather, pero, it was crazy, I was used to it. And sometimes I would even take the long way home. I would go through downtown walking. I was used to the cold. Now I'm living over here in Texas, man, but here the weather's crazy too,
Oh man,
one
down
day's
here
real hot, one day's real cold,
We had like a good 2 months of that, right? Like it was cold and then it would get hot, it would get cold, it would get hot.
Yeah.
Christian, you been in Chicago in the wintertime?
No, I'm in Chicago. How about
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Actually, he's from Ohio.
Really?
He was born in Ohio.
What part of Ohio?
Columbus?
Columbus, Ohio. All right. So you're an Ohio State fan. All right. Speaking of Ohio, I'm going to be in Ohio here in September, man, in Gibsonburg, Ohio, or something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I get to go up there and do some stuff up there with La Familia Mancha. Shout out to those guys.
Salud. We got Alex here. That's Christopher's dad. They're from Monterrey.
So speaking of Monterrey, we got Oscar Nieto watching on YouTube. Saludos bumper to you all from Monterrey, Mexico. I got addicted to your show and I said, who in the hell is that cat, man? Who is this cat, man? I love your show. Saludos to the icon, Mr. Guerrero, from Oak Cliff, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Saluditos about to all the fans out there, all the Sombraholics, all the crazy Mexicans. Those are my kind of people, the crazy Mexicans. Those are the ones I like to party with.
So Tony, you had older brother. So your older brother is Cruz?
Yes.
Cruz is your older brother.
Yes, Cruz Guerrero.
Right, Cruz. And then but what a lot of people don't know is like their family's very musical. It's not just the brothers. You guys have nephews that have been in the right. Who's your nephews are Cumbia Kings, no?
Yeah, my nephew Cruz owns the Cumbia Kings.
Okay.
And they're doing very, 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 very well. And so is my nephew Alex, and he's got Proyecto Cumbia. And they're also, I mean, for the little time they've been out there, they've been doing awesome. You know,
So you got two nephews still doing the thing with
Actually, they both used to be keyboard players for La Sombra, you know, and
wow.
so it all depends on you, you know. Actually, they used to be they used to be roadies for La Sombra. At one point, I asked them, I said, "Is this what you want to do? Sell T-shirts or be a roadie?" And they said, "No." So I taught them the little bit that I could on the keyboards, you know, and then
they learn the rest.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you know, the student gets better, learns more than what the teacher does, you know. So they've accomplished a lot. I'm very proud of them. You know,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I got a nephew in Chicago that also he's a rapper, you know, and with Trilogy Mafia, Los Bad Hombres, and they're doing very awesome too. My son's a drummer for La Sombra right now, Marco Guerrero, but he also records his own thing on the side, rap music. He likes rap music, and he did a song with the group that he was with. He's doing his own solo thing now. But
yeah,
they did a real good song. They went over. We had over 4-point-something million streams on it. So
that's good, man. That's good. Tony, going back to being a kid, man. You said something that's really near and dear to my heart, and not because I lived it, but just because, you know, Bumper's Wacky Wednesday, we really like to touch on cultura and stuff like that. I'm very passionate about our history. And you said, you know, you and your older brothers were raised down here in the valley of Texas, you know, Brownsville area, and you guys were migrant workers, man. You'd go up north to pick. And that alone in itself, man, separates you from a whole generation of other people. You know what I mean? But how does a migrant worker working in the fields find time to learn music?
Well, I've said it before. I think I got it all of it. I mean, yes, I started going to dances with my brother Cruz. Before my brother Cruz joined La Sombra, he used to have played another band that were also all family. They were puros primos y cuñados, you know, and they would practice in my house. Back up in the north, you know, all the houses have basements in them.
Yeah.
So they had all the equipment in my house, and they would practice in my house. So before that, I had asked my dad to buy me I used to love, back in the day, Carlos Guzman had some trumpet players.
Uh-huh.
And I would love the way they were all moving around and playing the trumpet, all in sync and everything.
Yeah.
You know, so I asked my dad to give me a trumpet. So he got me a trumpet, and I would play Carlos Guzman's records, and I would try to play what they were playing, and I couldn't figure it out, man. I couldn't figure it out. So I told my dad to give me a saxophone. So he took the trumpet back and
so he went from three things to a whole bunch of
yeah, you know, and I couldn't learn. It was the brass was I love brass, you know. That's why I wanted to learn, you know. So I couldn't figure it out, you know. So my brother Cruz's band equipment being there in the basement, I started messing with his keyboard. And I learned it all by myself. You know, I figured the keyboard out by myself. And then from there, I just started learning. And, you know, and the singing, well, before that, when I was very little, man, my mom would always sit me on her lap and sing to me. And my mom could sing, you know, and she would sing all this old songs to me. And she would sing so much to me that I learned the lyrics. And then I would start singing with her. And then when I start singing with her, she would start harmonizing me. And that's how I learned how to harmonize too, by listening to her harmonize, and that's pretty much where it comes from, you know. Man,
Tony, that's wild. I mean, you know, like I said, you being a migrant worker and still finding time to be able to find music, and maybe it wasn't this instrument, maybe it wasn't that instrument, but you finally found something that Tony Guerrero could do and master, right? I said no. Like you finally found an instrument that you know you mastered, like the trumpet. You had it. You're like, nah, that's not me. Saxophone, nah, that's not me. And you know, playing around with the keyboards, you finally you got it. You know what I mean? That was your instrument.
You know what I would do in the summertime? I would practice all day, bro. All day I would practice. I set my own schedule to make sure that at 9 o'clock I was practicing or messing around with the keyboard. And I would doing it like if I was at work. I would start at 9 o'clock till around 12 or 1, take a break. My mom would make me something to eat, and then go back to practice till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And I would do that through the whole summer. And then school started, so I had to go to school, you know.
I think, we got a lot of fans of Bumpers Wacky Wednesday from the Midwest, Midwest here in the United States, Ohio, Michigan, Milwaukee, Minnesota, like all that area up there. And what's crazy, man, is last year I got invited to the Mexican Fiesta in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and
I think I saw you there.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there. I saw you in the video.
You saw me in the video, yeah. I'll be up again. I'll be there again this year. But, man, to be honest, that was my very first time in the Midwest, 1. 2, never in a million years did I ever think that there was Mexicanos all the way up there like that. So then I started reading, I started doing things, and it's like, man, Chicago is, I think, like the second largest Latino area in the United States, right? Next to LA or something like that. And so, or Miami. But anyway, so when I went, I was just like, this is nuts. Here I thought, we're only in Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. I didn't know that we were all the way up there. Yeah. But I think, Tony, a lot of people really love what you stand for because many families, generations deep now, ended up there because of work, right? Their roots were down here in South Texas. Their parents took them up there, and eventually they said, you know what, we're not going to go back and forth. We'll just stay here. Yeah. And now they're 3, 4, 5, 6 generations deep, and that's their home. You know what I mean? But if you move through all that, the roots are still down here.
Yes.
Right? The roots are still down here.
I still have a lot of family over there in Aurora and Chicago. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we were just up there hace como unas 3 semanas. My sister, one of my younger sisters, she had a birthday party, and I got some of the original guys from La Sombra from back in the day back together, and we performed for her over there.
You did a little performance over there.
Yeah, because she said, "Boy, I want you to come. I want you to come for my birthday," and and she goes, "And I want you to perform too." I said, "Okay." She goes, "But I ain't gonna pay you though." She goes, "But I ain't gonna pay you."
Hey, let's throw the disclaimer out right away. No, there's no payment here.
Yeah, so I got some guys together from Chicago, like Cesar Mojica, Rene Limas, and then I got le dicen el tío Fitchman, I think, something like that, the guitar player, and then his brother Albert, and then
and they could remember all the songs.
Bobby Corona. Yeah, they did a great job. They did a great job. My brother Cruz and Avino were there also. They did a great job, and then we only got together for that show, for my sister's birthday party. So me and my son, my son was playing drums, and me and my son stayed till Monday, and then we came home. So the guys from Chicago were saying, "Hey, when's the next practice?" And I said, "Bro, I'm back to Texas with my other band over here."
Listo, they're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, because I had the Windy City Boys from Chicago and I had the Windy City Boys from Texas to come back to,
There you go. But the reason I asked about the Windy City, because, I have me and my Tio Juan, shout out to my Tio Juan Cano in Bevo, Texas. We used to go at it. I was like, man, I said, Tio, they're from Chicago. They're the Windy City Boys. No, they're not, dude. Esos vatos son de Corpus. They live in Corpus. And I said, dude, look at the scene. They're from Chicago. They're the Windy City Boys. And he's way older than me, right? He's like, man, te estoy diciendo, they're from Corpus. They live in Corpus. And I was like, I don't know. But we call them the Windy City Boys.
Yeah, it's like, Well, see, regardless if we are from Chicago or not, or where we live now, it's still a name that everybody knows us by.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
The Windy City Boys, the Chi Town Boys, the Shy, so pretty much that's the name we're going to continue to use.
Tony, I think what a lot of, I wouldn't say people, I'm not going to put words in people's mouth, but in my thoughts, I think that a lot of people forget something that La Sombra did before a lot of bands. I mean, stop to think of the way we listen to music now. Stop to think of what's in the music that we listen to now, right? La Sombra was doing things back in the early 90s, late 80s that many bands weren't doing. The whole rap, right? Throwing in a little, like a few rap lines inside of Tejanos. Who did that? No, nobody did that. I think that's what always separated you guys. You guys dancing the way you would dance on the Johnny Canales show. Nobody did that.
Yeah, it was a little different. That's one of the some of the things that separated us. No disrespect to anybody, but it was a little bit something different that we wanted to bring into La Onda. Like, God rest his soul, Pepper Gonzalez. He passed away in October, I think it was, last year or the year before. Him and his brother used to have a rock band, a 3-piece rock band, and they were awesome. Harvey Gonzalez, the bass player, and Pepper, the guitar player de La Sombra, and they had a brother that was playing drums. So, and then me, I wasn't a lot into hip hop and R&B. I used to play. Before La Sombra, I used to play with an R&B band in Chicago, and we would do nothing but top 40 back in the day. And so we got together and we started, playing some Tejano music. We started mixing the rock, the rap with Tejano, what we would do, So, and it just, it just happened, in a way, like we didn't plan it.
Like everything just fell into place at the right time.
Funny,
and then La Sombra was birthed, right? It was born. Tony, let me ask you a Chicago question, man. What music was born in Chicago and just took off like fire in the early 90s other than Tejano music?
What music?
It's a style of music, and I love it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people our age, you put that on, and people will go. You could play it anywhere, and people will go nuts and start dancing. I mean, people will be like, nah, and they hear that music, and boom, they hit the dance floor. You know what it is?
Well,
from Chicago. It was made in Chicago, and then of course it spread, and the artists came from New York and Miami and other places like that. But Chicago was the birthplace of it. You know what it is?
No, I don't know.
It's freestyle, right? Freestyle like Stevie B, Lisa,
okay.
like all that music that that music was birthed and it was born in birth. I don't know if that's a word. It was born in Chicago, man, and it spread like wildfire. And I think you guys had a mix of all that was Chicago, all that you grew up with. You mixed that and then you made La Sombra.
We sure did. That's what made us different, And back to your question, I was trying to figure out because you said Tejano and then you said what kind of music. I was trying to. I got lost there for a little.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, bro. There's a lot of things that came out from Chicago. There's a lot of groups coming out from the Midwest. And there's groups coming out from the West Coast también, Now I'm talking about La Onda,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new groups coming out, and they need support.
Oh, for sure. I know that when I was doing Frito Pie Fridays, I'd always get, the Midwest All-Stars. Man, I'm drawing blanks, but there's a lot of great groups from the Midwest that play great music. It just doesn't come this way. It kind of like stays in that general vicinity. But what was La Sombra's first break where you were like, hey man, we could really do something with this? You remember? Can you remember back then, like when you guys put the band together? You might have been doing quinces and weddings and stuff around Chicago, whatever. But when did you stop and be like, man, we could maybe really do something with this?
Honestly, me personally, I was playing music out of heart. Regardless if I got paid or not. I was doing music out of heart, and se me fue la onda otra vez.
Yeah, it's all good. No, like so La Sombra for years. I mean, Tony, you guys were right there. I mean, it was Jimmy and Joe and Mas. It was La Mafia, La Sombra, La Fiebre. I mean, all these powerful bands that would just pack these dance halls from the front all the way to the back. When did you, like, what year about did you like, hey man, we could really take off with this? Like this could really do something for us.
Well, actually, when we recorded our very first recording, well, not our very first recording, because our very first recording was a little 45 vinyl record that we did, and we only made like 300 copies, just for us and
family.
Yeah, the family. We weren't thinking about business or anything like that, but then when we recorded Guerrero Coca-Cola, man, it just blew up. We weren't expecting it. Like I wasn't expecting it. And at the time I was still doing music out of love. I still do it out of love. But now I know that it's a business too.
But if you can make some money, I'll do that too.
Yeah, And when we recorded a song, Mi Güerita Coca-Cola, which was written by my sister Maria Luisa G. Ramirez, who is also the mother of my nephew Alex, who Alex was keyboard player for La Sombra, and then he went to Cumbia Kings, and now he went to he created K1, and now he's got Proyecto Cumbia. My sister Maria Luisa is a songwriter for Mi Güerita Coca-Cola. Mi Güerita Coca-Cola, man, just blew up, and we started touring. The first song that we released, I mean, don't get me wrong. It wasn't all glory in the beginning, because we lived in Chicago, in Aurora, and we couldn't go and play a weekend in Texas and then go back over there and then come back next weekend and then go back. We couldn't do that. We ended up sleeping in a barn one night because we couldn't afford to get in the room. And we snuck in the barn.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit for everybody. Listen here.
Te miran, me duele hasta el corazón y me dices no te enojes, yo soy tu guía. Me das un beso y se me
It's a classic right there, man.
Mi güerita consentida, qué bonito amarte así, cuando todos que te quieren y tú me quieres a mí, con tus curvas Coca-Cola me supiste enamorar, mi güerita chiquitita. No me vayas a dejar.
Hey, Tony, did you ever think that maybe back in the day, Coca-Cola would come after you for that song? I just thought about that. Like, hey, dude, Coca-Cola could have been like, hey, man, that's copyright infringement right there.
Nah, I didn't think about it till afterwards, though. Like, you're just thinking about it right now.
Hey, then tomorrow Coca-Cola's gonna be knocking on Tony's door. Hey man, we're going back to a song back from what year did that come out?
Huh?
What year was that? 1980 something?
Guerrita?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1980. We recorded it in 1983, and it was released in 1984.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I mean, I'm gonna rewinding a little bit.
Dale. It's Wacky Wednesday for a reason, Tony. Aquí hablamos de todo from wall to wall. We start in the end. We go back to the beginning. It doesn't matter.
It took us a while, a question that you asked earlier, I didn't finish answering. We recorded our first 45, a single, you know, and like I said, just for the family, like we only made 300 copies. And then later on, we recorded a record, Mi Güerita Coca-Cola, in 1984. But that's when we got our first break, when we released the first song, the Güerita Coca-Cola blew up. But we had been around already for like maybe about 8 years in the Midwest, performing, like you said, quinceañeras,
And weddings, parties.
yeah, and we would perform with a lot of bands that would go from Texas to Chicago, and we would perform with them too, and they all kept telling us, man, you guys need to go to Texas, you guys need to go to Texas, and you know, I was happy with what I was doing, you know, until we recorded with Coca-Cola, and then I said, whoa, man, what's going on here, you know? But it took us a while too, you know. It took us a long time, you know, before we got I guess, Mi Güerita Coca-Cola just blew up, you know. And
Everything just lined up, like you said, right? You got all the right artists at the right time. Everything lines up. I mean, that's how legends are born, man. That's how legends are made, right there. Just things line up at the right time, Tony. And can you think back and remember the time where you're like, hey, man, we're probably gonna have to leave the Midwest and make our way down to Texas if we want to continue this.
When we recorded, when we heard that Güerita Coca-Cola was making a lot of noise in Texas, you know, so people started wanting La Sombra, you know, so we can't say no to your fans, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, so, and I like to thank all the Sombraholics, all the fans of La Sombra.
Everybody here's a number one fan. Todos. I'm the number one fan. No, I'm the number one fan. Todos son los number one.
This goes out to all the number one fans, all the number one Sombraholics. Un fuerte abrazo. Thank you. La Sombra has been around for over 4 decades. You know, and being around for 4 decades, that means you're doing something right. You know, we did, how do you say it, step out of the picture for a while because I got sick, you know, so that's mainly the only reason we stepped back for a while, you know, and hadn't been recording, but got some new recordings coming up also. Pero thank you very much for all the support you have given us through all the 4 decades, and in the good and bad times, the bad and good, the ups and downs. Thank you. You know, I really appreciate it because I would say we are all one big family, because, you know, mostly everywhere we go, you know, all these decades, you know, people still invite us and to comidas, you know, they offer una carnita aquí, otra carnita allá, you know, and we really appreciate it. I mean, you make us feel at home when we're in your town, and we really appreciate it, you know. Thank you very much to all the number one fans, baby. That's what's up.
That's what's up. So, hey, all day today, everybody's been texting me, that's what's up. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? You know,
had them pretty crazy kids,
oh,
you know?
dude, you had great catchphrases, man. I mean, that's what people remember, Tony. Yeah. That's what I remember: sparkly outfits, a lot of tights. But you were gonna put on a badass show, man. Like
we always tried, yeah.
You know, I don't know if you can maybe vouch, or you could say, hey, that didn't happen. Maybe you just don't remember. I don't know. But I had here one day. I had here the Tres Amigos. It was Juan P. Moreno. It was oh, I'm having a brain fart right here. The original Chamacos. It'll come to me in a minute. Right? Chato, Manuel Alvarado and Chato and Juan P. Moreno. They were all here together. Right, and they said that one time they went to Chicago. I asked them, where did y'all come up with these crazy outfits or whatever? Like, well, back in the day, Mafia, Mas, Sombra, these dudes were, I mean, they were all about their image. You know what I mean? Like, when they got on stage, hey, they looked. So he said that one time they were going to play at a show where you guys were going to play at in Chicago, and they flew in and their bags didn't show up. So they didn't have any outfits to wear on stage. So you're like, hey, well, we wore these yesterday, but you're more than welcome to wear them. And he said that you guys let him borrow a few outfits, and they stuck with it. They had to come home and start making stuff like that. So I don't know how true that is, but they were here and they were like,
man, a lot of things happen. A lot of my nephew Cruz one time. Lately we don't say anything about the shoes, but back in the day, you say, hey, everybody got to wear the same black shoes, red shoes, white shoes, whatever, And Cosillo forgot his shoes, so I started making fun of him on stage and everything, And then a lot of things happen, I forgot my clothes one time, and I forgot my clothes one time. One time we got pulled over, and we ended up showing like an hour late to the gig because they took us to the police station and everything, and then so we got there and we ended up playing the way we were dressed, in the sweatpants and everything, shorts, and so we had been there. And,
today you're getting the relaxed La Sombra today, Roy. That's hilarious, man. Tony, so back in the day, man, you were there. You were there. In the glory years, we have to call them the glory years of, tens of thousands of people would show up to concerts. You guys were Rolling Stones in a sense, you know what I mean? There was a part of, I would say, a good 10 to 15 years where you guys couldn't go anywhere and just walk around and do normal stuff. You know what I mean? You'd probably have to have security with you and stuff like that. How was life for you back then in those times where, it's just wild, showing up to a concert and thousands of people are out there, how did that make you feel, man?
Well, it's pretty awesome, bro. When you step on stage, it turns me to a whole different person. When I'm on stage, I'm Tony Guerrero. When I'm off stage, I'm Antonio Guerrero.
Okay.
So off stage, I'm more laid person. Off stage, I'm a more kickback person, more quiet, I like to joke around a lot, try to say funny things or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And on stage is, I guess I get overexcited or, seeing so many people there, and especially when you see people singing a song word by word, when you're singing it, it transforms me into another person. So it transforms me into Tony Guerrero and, but it's pretty awesome. I really appreciate, like I said earlier, the 4 decades, and I really appreciate for the Sombraholics, and the hardcore Sombra fans out there, they've been with us throughout the years.
Tony, back in the day, again, mentioning all those groups, wild times. As a young teenager, I picture all that. I could still smell the nostalgia. I could still feel the nostalgia. I could still, see you guys jamming with so much smoke all over just the lights out the yin yang everywhere. Did La Sombra ever have band wars with anybody?
Have what?
Like they used to say La Mafia and Mas, they would go at it, you know what I mean? Did La Sombra ever have who was La Sombra's enemy?
All of them.
Hell yeah!
All of them, because we were from out side of Texas.
There you go. All right, that's what he said. Everybody was the enemy, bro. That's a good way. Hey, you were making a living, right? So you really didn't have a personal. There was ever no personal beef with anybody, or you were just hey. It's long gone. I couldn't remember if you guys did or not.
Here's what back in the day before La Sombra came to Texas, there was maybe 6 Tejano bands in the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
And and we will all, and including La Sombra, one of them, we would all play locally through all the Midwest, and when we had gigs, together, we would call each other up, and say, hey, bro, you want to take the sound system and I'll take the back line, or I'll take the back line, you take the sound system. Yeah, bro, we would all get along real cool, bro.
Uh-huh.
And then when we came to Texas, bro, man, they didn't even want us to set up on stage. We had to set up on the floor, so it was crazy,
So they treated you like, hey, you ain't from around these parts.
Exactly, So, but we did our talking on stage, so that's
You left everything on the stage.
yes.
That's cool, man. I mean, everybody that's in the chat room, everybody just, I mean, what was your guys' favorite memory of Tony Guerrero y La Sombra? I mean, I have so many, like I said, maybe not only just seeing you live, but just your music in general, and I think what a lot of people don't know, and I hope after tonight's show, you guys know that they come from a huge family of musicians, right? Huge family of musicians. So I know he's been kind of quiet a little bit, Tony. Is there a relation here, or how did Christopher come into with La Sombra?
So Mr. Jaime was in like a little rehearsal, was it like a little show?
We met through when Jaime de Anda was having an audition when he was looking for new musicians.
Uh-huh.
I went to support Jaime. He went to support him too, and that's where we met. You can tell him.
Yeah. We met there, and then I think I remember we played. He invited me to play with La Sombra in Las Cositas bar, right? Yeah, I think it was Las Cositas bar. And I remember that
And they let you in there?
Yeah, not legally, but I was in there,
Alex was there, or else they wouldn't let him in.
And I remember barely meeting Mr. Tony, and I was gonna say something about him to the microphone, and I was like, "What's his name again?" Because I barely met him, and I was like, "Sir, what's your name? What's your name?" And I was like, "Tony," and then he exposed me in the crowd. He didn't know my name, and then I was, "Oh damn." Yeah, and then I gotta meet him more, and this time I did remember his name.
Yeah,
it was Tony. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Hey, Christopher, so how old are you, brother?
I'm 16 right now.
16, dude. 16, and your love for music derives from your father. Where do you get your love of music from?
Just from when I was little, my parents used to put music on the radio. Classical music like Camarader, Mr. Tony Guerrero, of course. Alex Zamora, every type of music. But I think one day they're playing their music, and I heard this specific instrument. I was like, "Dad, what's that?" Or "Mom, what's that specific instrument that's playing?" And they said that was the accordion. And then I did some research, and then I made this little paper, and I put the buttons there, an accordion. And they saw me, and I was like, "Oh, he likes the accordion." And then Christmas, I got an iPad, right?
Uh-huh.
And I installed a little accordion game.
You put the app on the app. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and then they saw really liked it. And then sad story, not really sad, just like my little me. My little sister then saw I was getting into music, and then she wanted to get into music, and she got the guitar. And then they went to buy the guitar, and I was like, "Damn, why they get the guitar first? Now the accordion." and I was crying in the car because they didn't get my accordion, and then they got my accordion.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Hey, there you go, man. And so you just picked up on your own, Christian, or just by ear, or?
At first, I picked up on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And then my parents put me in classes. It was in the Guadalupe Art Center, but then I couldn't be there no more because of my dad's work schedule.
Yeah.
And we had to, I couldn't be there. Yeah. And then I reached out to this guy, or I think he reached out to me that he wanted to give me classes, and I was really appreciative towards him. I think it was Ricardo Cabrera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he taught me a lot. And it was mucho con el acordeón de fa, but it was really helpful. Well, con las escalas y las canciones.
Y Christian, también cantas, right?
Sí, traté.
¿Puedes hablar español también? Yo entiendo español.
Yes, yeah. I started singing when I didn't sing at all. mostly with just the accordion that I
Yeah.
played. And well, one day Miss Tony told me, what'd you tell me? That like something about if I could sing on Moño Colorado or something.
When I asked you,
Yeah, I don't know how specifically it went, but I think yes, my mom, if I could sing, and if for me to record a video of me singing a song. I don't know. I don't remember which song I sang. It was probably
La Demonio, no?
yeah, it was probably El Moño Colorado, and then I sang it.
It's a classic right
Yeah.
there. That is a straight classic right there. And so being 16, man, you go to school like sometimes Tejano is not the in thing, right? It's not the cool music that's going around. So kudos to you, dude, for doing what you do and sticking to your roots, right? I was the same way. Even though I don't play any instruments, I could dibble dabble a little bit on the guitar, but since I was young, man, I just had this conversation with my buddy who's a sergeant. He's like, I won't tell you exactly what it is, but he's one of the highest ranking enlisted people in the Marine Corps right now. And he's like, dude, I want to thank you for 2.5 hours of listening to you as he was driving an 8-hour drive somewhere because I listened to you the whole time. And, you know, he goes, you know, one thing I can vouch for you is since we were best friends growing up, he goes, since I've known you, that's always been your music. You know, Tejano music, even when it wasn't cool. But shit, it was cool, dude. La Sombra. Come on, dude. That was, I mean, it don't get no cooler than that. But kudos to you, dude, for following your dreams and doing that because we talk about it, you know, with different people that come on the show. We always talk about how we find different ways to keep La Onda going, right? To keep going. A lot of people say, well, we need to see younger faces, right? We need to see younger groups, younger people doing their things. And here you are, man, sitting right here. We've had the Ibarra boys here. You've seen those guys, the Ibarra boys from the Valley?
I think I've heard of them.
Yeah, they play the accordion. One plays the accordion, Roy and Abraham, and then the other one plays the bajo. Yes. And they get down, dude. They love conjunto music. They're doing their thing.
There's another kid from Arizona named Elijah.
Yeah, I've seen that kid too. Yes, yeah, there's a lot, man. There's so many, but you guys just don't stop living your dream, man. Keep doing your thing, dude. It's coming around. You know, this weekend, for everybody that likes to say Tejano's dead, like this weekend, everybody's going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada for the Tejano Music Convention, right? The Tejano Takeover. And people come from all over the United States for that. So I look forward to, I've seen you, man, probably, you didn't know who I was, but I knew who you were. I've seen you a few times. I remember seeing you, the first time I saw you was at Fanfare. You performed at Fanfare with La Sombra. La Sombra came out with the white, with the red shirts and so I remember everything, Tony. I remember everything. And that's one thing about La Sombra, man. We said it earlier. You guys have always been your own. You do what you want to do. Your style. You weren't dependent on anybody like, oh, they're doing that, we're gonna do that. You always started the trend, right? If you go back and think about it, like I said, with the rapping on the music, the dancing, the way y'all would dance. Nobody was doing that. Yeah. Nobody was doing that.
You got to be yourself, man. You know, you got to be yourself as you know, don't try to be somebody else, you know. Be liked, be wanted for you, for who you are.
That's it, man.
You know,
that's it.
And not try to be like somebody else because, man, the first thing they're going to say is that, oh, man, you're trying to be
trying to be like somebody else. Exactly. Hey, real quick, man. I want to give some shout outs to some people watching on YouTube and Facebook. Shout out to Mercy Perez, Lupe, Liscano, let's see, Irene Mendoza, Sal in the house, Celia San Roman. Let's see. Sean Zambrano, shout out to Texas Swag Radio, Tejano Swag Radio from Gonzales, Texas. They're in the house. If you guys haven't checked it out, hit up my boy Sean.
Sean, he used to come and see us. This is how long I've known him. He was so little that I would pick him up from his wheelchair. Wow. And when I was singing, and I would have him throw a grito while I was holding him up in my arms.
And then you put him back down in the chair.
And now we'll put him back in his wheelchair. I can't pick him up now. That boy too big now.
There you go. Big shout out to my boy Sean Zambrano. Just started Tejano Swag Radio. Make sure you guys check it out. From Gonzales, Texas. To our good friend Norma Salazar, who I think is in Vegas. I thought I saw her live earlier. I think she's in Vegas. Manuel Oresti. Manuel Oresti played drums with you guys for a while.
He did.
Shout out to him. Let's see. There was somebody left a pretty good long. I remember watching La Sombra back in 1990 in Ronge, Texas. I was 9 years old, standing up front, amazed at all the lights and the smoke. La Sombra will always be a huge inspiration to me and many others. Thank you, Mr. JJ, for that wonderful, wonderful comment. Let's see. Frank Trevino on the 956. Saludos. Let's see. Norma's like, yes, I am in Vegas. Lansing, Michigan's in the house. I know there's people watching from Chicago. My faithful followers from Chicago. Shout out to my tío in Woodsboro, Texas. La Familia Cano. Let's see. Andres Diaz. I like the song when he would record the mariachi music, man. And he was really about that all through his voice.
What now?
He said, Andres Diaz says, I like the song when he would record the mariachi music, man. He would really be about that all through his voice. I don't know. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody's.
Un saludito para María Alembid. Saludito para Hilda Peña, para Leti Rubalde, to all the Sombraholics out there, Peggy, Josie, I'm trying to remember a lot of Lupe Liscano, you mentioned her name a little while ago, that they're always there, supporting La Sombra. And
no matter where you're at, they find a way to be there.
Yeah, they're always there, para Nicole, and all the Sombraholics, there's so many, and it's kind of hard to remember them,
Oh, for sure, man. You got people watching right now, watching from West St. Paul, Minnesota. Remembering seeing La Sombra at the Majestic Ballroom in Cottage Grove, Minnesota.
Ooh, Minnesota, boys. I remember going to jam out there in the wintertime, too.
And shout out to Buddy from It's Tejano. It's Tejano time. Right? Tejano Talk. Shout out to Buddy. He's getting a little upset. He goes, man, you didn't forget about your fellow podcaster. So shout out to Buddy, man.
Saludos, bro.
Saludos to everybody in Vegas, dude. There's a lot of my friends already in Vegas. They're in flight to Vegas. This week, I'm going to be, here it is right here. Bumpers Wacky Wednesday will be in Las Vegas beginning tomorrow, man. Tomorrow we'll be in Vegas. So all the Tejano fans that watch the show, watch the podcast, we'll be live in Vegas, man. Thursday through Sunday. We got brand new merch. So make sure you guys stop by and check it out and get yourself a new cap or a new shirt. And we got a special message in the back for all of you that remember last week. And they're only going to be on the shirts that are purchased in Vegas. We got a special message. And, well, we won't say what it is until you get there and buy one. But if you stop by, check us out. We'll have a little booth there at the Vegas Tejano Takeover. Looking forward to meeting a lot of new fans from all over the United States of America that love Tejano.
There was in Aurora this big Caterpillar company.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in a cafeteria, washing dishes.
While you were still with La Sombra?
Yeah, before I came to Texas.
Before you, okay, I got you. But while y'all were still doing the weddings and the quinces and all that, that's amazing, man.
I would work my 40 hours a week, get out of work at 3:30 on Friday, go get a little U-Haul trailer. I had to load it up, and this is in the wintertime too, 2 or 3 feet of snow. And go all weekend, and play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come in at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, unload the little U-Haul, go drop it off, and I had to be at work at 7.
A chingarle otra vez. The whole week, right? I just had this conversation with a good guy I just met yesterday, spending the 4th of July with. And I was telling him, I said, you know, what's really crazy is that if you stop to think about this, you know, what people in America, by just sheer numbers, probably get paid the least amount of money.
What people get paid?
Yeah, if you had to go by like race, like what would you, you know, Latinos probably get paid the least amount of money for any work that they do, right?
And they do the best work.
Right now, I'm not dogging nobody, but it's a damn truth. No, it's true. Who does the hardest jobs? Like some of the Latinos, right? Who fills the parks all over the United States every weekend? Carne asadas, the lakes. Who does? Be honest, like yes. We do, yes, right? And so you know we were laughing, but we were laughing in a sense where it was so true that if you think about it, least paid, work the hardest, right? But come the weekend, we're doing our carne asadas, our parties, like right, everything that we want that we made Monday through Friday. By Friday night and Saturday night, we buy carne for everybody. Everybody has a good time. By Sunday, we're broke. But you know what? Just like it just brought it up because you said on Monday there you were 7:00 in the morning, yep. Sharp back at work. You know what? A chingarle otra vez, yes, so we can party again on Friday. That is, and that's why I think a lot of people that are not us, they look at us like these people are always so happy, right? You don't need to have a lot of money to be happy. You stop and think about it, man. You really don't. I mean, you know, money helps for sure. Money helps, but dude, some of the most happiest people I've ever met in my life are some of the most poorest people that you'd ever come across. You know, and it's crazy, but you know, money doesn't bring happiness. It really doesn't. It helps. Don't get me wrong. You know, money helps, but I really think our people. That's why we are the way we are, because you know we're not gonna die with this money. You might as well get the ranchera meat, right? The $12.99 a pound, or get the good shit. You know what I mean?
Man, back in the day, I would work. I would clear $110 for 40 hours. Back in the day, and my mom.
I hope we're still alive. Anybody hear us? Anybody? So it happens when you're live. Man, are we not? Can anybody hear us on YouTube, on Facebook, on any of that stuff? Can you see it over there on yours? Yeah. It's still showing us live?
Well, mine's on from the very beginning.
It's done. Facebook is out, but they still got us on YouTube. Hey, everybody watching on YouTube, I'm going to stop. I'm going to restart. We're going to come back live right